Welcome to Business Coaching Secrets with Karl Bryan. If you want to attract new high-end coaching clients, fill live events, and build a wildly profitable coaching practice where business owners pay, stay, and refer, you've come to the right place. In this podcast, Karl provides his keys to the kingdom for finding and signing high-paying clients and building the coaching business of your dreams. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, coaches around the world, welcome to another episode of Business Coaching Secrets. It's your boy, the Road Dog, with none other than the man, the myth, the legend living his best life, currently out of Fort McMurray, Karl Bryan. Welcome to the show, Shoots.
It's the was it described as the armpit of Canada? Apologies to anybody from Fort McMurray, or maybe you got family in Fort McMurray. Hey, it's a great place, but not the most active city I've ever been to. It's not LA. That's for sure, Shoots.
So just real quick, actually, how busy is it up there? Because obviously, for those that don't know, Fort Mac it's an oil town. Like, it's just that this is where all the oil workers typically will come back from the camps and everything else. One of my best buds is actually the GM of the golf course up there, and he actually used to be part owner of the Earls up there. And it's just wild how much money these guys will come in and drop. But is it still like that? Did you get that feel, or have you not kind of hit the town yet?
No, I haven't hit the town. I can tell you, because there's no town to hit. But no, you know what? COVID, and then they had a huge fire up here that wiped out the city in a big bad way. They have not recovered. And what happened is everybody became remote, which maybe there's a business lesson in this. They became, you know what I mean? Like, you know how, like, we live in Kelowna, and a lot of people, well, I guess whatever. So Kelowna, people live in Kelowna and then work in Fort Mac, and they'll work for 2 weeks and get 2 weeks off, and they just go back. Rather than living in Fort Mac, they just travel back and forth to Kelowna. That has become significantly more the norm, and the city is not the way like there was a time when Fort McMurray was thriving and it was kind of big news, right? That's just not the case in any way. There's a lot of places. Like, I went to Booster Juice, closed down, and then I found a Jugo Juice, which are little juice joints if you want a green drink, right? Both of them closed down. So, which is.
Hey, I was going to say, Karl, can we just maybe real quick before I get to my first question? So you're in a town, and again, yeah, like, they were ravaged by wildfires. Geez, I don't even know how many years ago. Kelowna, obviously, right now, it's happening with us right now, where it just all this fire stuff. When you're how can you, and I don't want to say take advantage of, but how can you support your community in a way that can actually maybe even grow your business? And it sounds, I don't want to sound like a complete dick here, you know what I mean? But at the same time, there's an opportunity for you to step up in your community to help, which then naturally is going to lead a ton of goodwill. It's not being an opportunist. It's just sort of, I don't know, like, this is where, in a way,
Bill,
I am conflicted.
COVID, remember at the very, because I hear what you're saying, and I think it's a great place to go, right? Like, at the beginning of COVID, you needed, you couldn't just run the same darn ads. You look like a jerk off, right? Including the big dogs and the little guys. So what you needed to do is become insanely supportive of your community. Like, right now there's fires ravaging, different cities. The one that I was just in, and Kelowna. And by the way, there's a hurricane running through the Caribbean right now. So anyways, forget all of that. What you got to do is you got to turn it around. So if you own the local restaurant, and there is fires ripping through and people are being evacuated, creating a dynamic where you've got a table where people can come in, they can still come in and have dinner, but what they could do is they could bring supplies, food, clothing, blankets for people that have been evacuated, and for people that are in a little bit of, because what's happening in Kelowna right now is that people are staying at Prospera Place, right? It doesn't mean that they're homeless. What they're doing is they're staying, and like, that's a huge, that's a 5,000 seat place where they play hockey, right? So that people are sleeping there. I don't know what the blanket situation is, but some people need a little bit more blankets. And I'm pretty sure if you were sleeping in a hockey stadium, an extra blanket might come in handy, either to lay underneath you for a little bit of extra, soft or on top to keep you warmer. Anyway, so that's a way that you could do it, but you should absolutely. It's a great time for you to build some serious, I don't know, loyalties, what word I'm looking for here, but you know what I mean? Like some brand equity, I'm going to call it. Again, that's the wrong way of phrasing what I'm trying to say, but same idea. You got to change the narrative though, right? So just have your entire city on fire and then be sending out, pizza flyers might not be the best approach. So the same with COVID.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing. I was just going to say though, like COVID was another one where, like like right now I'm stuck in this mindset of, that no matter, like you want to help, it can be good for business, but you're conflicted because of it. It's no different than people that are in the money mindset. Because how often do you hear this? I want to do good. I want to help as many people as possible, but I feel guilty for charging what I charge. Like that limited money mindset. Like we see that all the time. Do you not get that all the time from coaches?
Yeah. Yeah. You got to get your head around it, because at the end of the day, you're not getting paid. If you've been educating yourself for the last 15 years, you're getting paid for 15 years of education, not the hour that you spend on the phone with them, right? Your ability to solve, like if it takes me 3 minutes to solve a problem and it takes you 30 minutes to solve a problem or 3 hours to solve a problem, we're solving the same problem. I'm bringing the same amount of value, but I did it significantly quicker because of my couple decades of staying in my lane and doing the same thing over and over and over again and getting a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, and experiencing that compounding effect, right? So yeah, you gotta be, you don't get, again, Tony Robbins gets paid for who he is, not what he does. Yeah, you get paid for the problem you're solving as opposed to the hour that you're spending with them. Very important.
Cool. So just like the other week, obviously there's a lot going on. You probably likely had a lot of pretty crazy thoughts go through your head as you're, trying to, get evacuated out of Yellowknife. Now you're stuck in Fort Mac. You can't come home. There's all these things going on. I'm sure your emails and just communication has been challenging, but I'm sure you're getting tons of messages. What are 3 random things that you're thinking about recently to kind of occupy your brain in all of this kind of chaos?
While I was fishing shoots, that's 3 things occupying. You asked this last time. I liked it. Do I have an answer though? Look, so here's one. You want to lift. How do I say it? You want to lift your bottom as opposed to raise your ceiling, right? Like so. Okay, here. Let's say you wake up in the morning and hopefully you don't go straight to your phone, right? But let's just say that you light 20 minutes on fire, surfing the net. Maybe it's watching sports highlights. Maybe it's watching Netflix. It's the end of the show. Whatever it is, you spend 20 minutes surfing the net. Let's just say that, and let's assume that it's not. Surfing it in a way that you're assisting yourself in the ability to solve problems for your clients. You're surfing the net because you're looking at, what the base, the Yankees did last night, right? Take those same 20 minutes, okay, and do what? Instead of surfing the internet, change the routine, like spend those 20 minutes creating a Facebook post that is value. If your vice is driving to McDonald's for a Big Mac, and hot fudge sundae, which may or may not be my weakness, and let's say that takes you 10 minutes, right? It's 8 minutes down, you got to go through the drive-through, and then it's 8 minutes home, whatever. Take that roughly 20 minutes and do what? Go for a walk, right? So your habit is, it's this time, I jump in the car, I go to McDonald's, eat my sundae and the Big Mac, come home, take those 20 minutes and go for a walk, right? Remember, no one will ever go for a walk and then say, I wish I didn't go for a walk. Right? Not going to happen. And if you go for a jog, and depending upon the shape that you're in and your ankles, knees, and hips, and maybe your age, maybe that's going to be a jog, maybe that's going to be a run. But at the end of the day, nobody goes for a walk and then says, I wish I didn't go for a walk. Thinking like this, you've got, let's assume that's a habit I just defined, right? You got trigger, you got habit, and then you've got routine. And then do you change the trigger? Do you change the habit, or do you change the routine, right? So a smoker, what does a smoker do? They eat and then they have a cigarette immediately afterwards, right? Well, what you got to do is change, instead of, the trigger of eating, because obviously you need to eat, right? And then the habit of having a cigarette, change the routine where you eat and then you immediately go for a walk, right? So fundamentally, what you want to be doing, and in fact, there's a really Atomic Habits, if you've ever read that. I'm not describing it the same way that he teaches it, but fundamentally the same. What he will tell you, and I dare say the premise of the book, a large percentage of the premise of the book is that you change the routine. And most people, and I think more traditional psychology will teach you to concentrate on the trigger, right? But changing your routine can be huge. And by the way, a little hack on that, which may or may not be relevant right now, but just look, you want changing your environment. Like literally move 1 hour down the road and change, the road that you drive, the school that your kids go to school at, or the where you go to church, or where you, spend most of your time, in the place that you go to a restaurant, and then subsequently the friends and the people that you're hanging out with, your neighbors. You could be very, very surprised. And by the way, move to another country, move to another state, move to another province, move to another whatever culture. That is just next level change of environment. But you will find that a hack of adjusting your routine, a hack of changing your routine is changing your environment, or a hack of massive improvement forward for you, for your clients, for your kids, for your grandkids, for your family, for your loved ones, is a change of environment that I don't think is talked about quite as much. Like, I moved to the Caribbean, and I got to tell you that life is categorically different. In not all 100% amazing ways. There are some challenges with it, but at the end of the day, moved not so much across the world, but kind of. And it's just, so it's a hack. It was just, things changed big time, and it was very, a net positive. By a lot, might be for you. Really important there is changing the routine as opposed to changing the trigger when you've got something you're trying to avoid. And more to the point, going to your bottom and looking to lift that as opposed to raising your ceiling, right? So you got 20 minutes that you're wasting doing something. Spend that 20 minutes doing something productive, and that's not really going to affect you today. But when you multiply that by 7, and then you multiply it by 30 over the month, and then you multiply it by 90 over the quarter, and then 365 over the year, I'm going to tell you that you go unbelievably different dynamic going on. So shoots, that would be one thing. Okay, so here's something that I'll just tell you. I went for a walk an hour ago, and this is just, drumming in my head, and I've talked about this recently, so I won't go too deep. But what does Steve Jobs say? You want to build a great company, build great products. Otherwise said, I said this in an email not long ago, but a real founder keeps the company focused on product and not focused on company. So that, just really diving down. Facebook is Facebook because it's amazing. You love Zuckerberg, you hate Zuckerberg, you love Facebook, you hate Facebook. Doesn't matter. Facebook is so insanely functional. The utility of it is so amazing. How many people do you know that left Facebook, and where do they end up back? And I'm talking about for their company pages and their groups, that sort of stuff. Guess where they end up? Back at Facebook, right? Why? The product is simply amazing. The utility of the product is simply amazing. So I don't know. That's so instead of generating leads for, what did I just say? Instead of spending all your time on how can I generate leads for my coaching business, spending your time on how you're going to go and approach a landscaper and then totally change his existence because you've got a list of 50 different ways you could legitimately help the landscaping company. I'm going to say that's a significantly better use of your time. And then believe me, when you've got a list of 50 ways to help a landscaper that could legitimately work, that you were pumped up, that you didn't write down 50 and then stop. You wrote down 150 and came up with 50 kind of thing. That's the approach. really high level of intensity with it and passion, and not concentrating on you and not concentrating on your leads and not concentrating on the number of clients and certainly not concentrating on the amount of money that you're going to make, but concentrating on the landscaper and how you're going to monumentally move them. That is a really, really, really good use of your time. So that's kind of what I'm, great company, great products, great products. Lastly, shoot, so is that two? So lastly, okay. It's Alex Hormozy just recently did a webinar. He broke the internet, he this, he that. Like, Alex is amazing. There's no, you know what I mean? The end. Nothing I'm going to say further than that. So many people hating on him, and he should have done this and he should have done that. I'm going to tell you that if that's you, I'm going to caution you on making yourself look silly. And sure, he could have done things way better, but when you get that kind of response to anything, you are amazing. In my opinion, by the way, the end. So I'm going to just go there. But here, saying, hey, you are amazing and I can feel it, versus I am amazing and I want you to see it, right? You see, hey, you, Road Dog, you're amazing and I see it, I feel it, I believe in you before you believe in yourself. That used to be when one of my original coaching programs. You literally open it up and that was the quote. It was actually, I changed it because it was like and then I had lots of coaches ripping around. So let us believe in you before you believe in yourself. Or basically that might have been a little bit tweaked, but we believe in you before you believe in yourself, right? So that, like, way better to make people look good, and feel good about what they're doing than to say, I look good and I feel good, right? So again, real simple. One is you, the other one is them. Translation, stop selling them on your accomplishments and start selling them on their potential accomplishments. I hope that makes sense. And I will tell you that I believe that Alex is really good at that. And he's really good at a lot of things, but he's like, he's not the guy sitting there talking about himself and patting himself on his back, although he very conveniently drops those things. Like, it's like Tony Robbins, whenever you hear him talk about, like, we're running this program right now, Local Legends, which is going really well. And it's we put a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and a lot of bandwidth going into that program. And it's like, we talk like Tony Robbins, when he talks, does this sound, I don't know, you tell me, does this sound familiar? I charge $1 million a year plus upside. I have a waiting list. I've had one client for 2 decades and he continues to pay me. And he's paid me upside. He charges $1 million plus upside. He has a waiting list. Does he drop that all the time? And then, as you agree with me, because no doubt if you listen to any Tony Robbins stuff he does, do you think that's by accident, right? And the answer is a hard no. The question is, do you know what I mean? There's an element of that being dropped, but you've got to make sure that that's, it's not have a look at, it's I see you, not just I want you to see me and, gee, I'm amazing. It's holy smokes, I see something amazing in you. So, you know what, differently stated, possibly the same principle. It's from a goal setting perspective. Create a goal of impact versus a goal of revenue, right? So instead of I want to make $1 million, I want to make $10,000 a month, I want to make $100,000 a year, I want to make $250,000 a year, I want to make $1 million a year. Instead of you saying I want to make $1 million a year with my coaching, you say I want to make 10 coaches $1 million a year, and you're going to get significantly further faster, because one is all about them, one is about you, and you will always do more for others than you'll do for yourself. So that's the angle to come at it. So shoots, I don't know. There you go. While fishing, those are maybe some thoughts. What do you think? Anything you want me to add?
Well, the thing, I was wondering if you're going to mention the Hormozy launch thing, because that was insane. And I guess the scariest part of that launch is just, I was thinking about you, and is this giving you permission to have no strips and wear Crocs and cut off jeans and tank tops when you present now? Like, is this going to be what Karl Bryan's going to show up at when he does business coaching mastery in Mexico? Is this going to happen?
Shoots, what you don't know. We're not doing Zoom, right? But you don't know what I'm wearing right now, and if I have a nose strip and a tank top.
There's that. I could take that so many different directions right now.
Please don't, Shoots. Let's keep it.
The good news is you're probably in a hotel room with 2 queen beds and 6 guys. So, anyways, I'm not probably far off. That's the beauty of it all. Anyways, I know we don't have a lot of time today, and I just I kind of like, I love the question, but I kind of hate the question. Okay, because it's sort of like, it's the question is there a secret ingredient to business coaching success? And what would you say it is? It's like, man, there's no secrets, right? But it's still a question that was asked. So I kind of love it because I know it comes all the time. But do you think there is a secret ingredient to business coaching success?
Yeah. And like you said, we've seen this in different words, but it's variations of the same thing. The secret is there is no secret, right? You guys ever read the book, The Secret, right? The problem is well, let me put it this way. The guys who wrote the book, The Secret, they went from town to town, city to city, state to state, country to country around the globe promoting The Secret, right? Well, if The Secret was a secret, they would have just sat on their bed and really, really positive thinking and expecting a bag of money to fall, from the ceiling onto their head, right? Clearly not the case. So bloody hard work. In fact, I wrote an email about Alex Hormozy and one of his little X factors that I don't think people see, but it's the effort paradox. And what basically you will see, here's the kicker. I want you to go to his Twitter feed and wherever else, because I'd imagine it's there. His wife wishes him a happy birthday, and I want you to read what she says in the birthday message. And it rhymes with how hard he works. And you will see that when Hormozy describes his book, guess what he mentions? How hard it was, right? And when you listen to his videos, guess what he talks about? How hard that he works, right? And when you basically sum that up, is that when you think that things were harder to do, when things are harder to put together, you attribute more value to it, right? So that's one. And again, he's got many, many amazing talents and psychological, like Jedi mind tricks that he does very successfully. But that's one of them that I don't. That's one that I don't see people talking about, and it's a huge one. My question for the coaches and how I finished my email: are you speaking about how hard it is, right? So one of the things that I used to do when let's just say, Road Dog, you're the landscaper, right? Butcher, baker, candlestick maker. I'm going to try and sell you coaching / consulting. I sit down with you, and what I would say is, okay, do you want to do this? Amazing, let's rock. But I want you to make the soft decision today to move forward and put me to work. Okay, put me to the test. And what I'm going to do, Road Dog, is I'm going to go away and I am going to work for about 17 hours on your business, not mine, but your business. And what I'm going to do is I am going to compile about a 30-page document that is going to outline everything that we are going to do over the next 12 months to take your revenues from 1 million to 3 million. And way more important than that, we're going to take your profits from X, from 100 grand to significantly, we're going to increase your profit margins the whole way through. Whereas most businesses grow and their margins shrink. What I'm going to make sure we do, as we talked about over the last hour whilst we were together, that we're going to make sure we protect your margins and they're actually going to grow, which is very, very rare. And frankly, the secret, in a lot of ways, the secret to business success, because the more money you can make, the more you can spend to acquire clients. And that's a hack of marketing. But Road Dog, I am going to go away and I am going to work so hard and so long, and it's going to be so difficult. And I'm going to call my colleagues, and I have a colleague who used to own a very successful landscaping company. He's one of the calls that I'm going to make, and they are all going to help me put together your roadmap for your business that is going to be about 30 pages. And by the way, when I come back with my roadmap, if you decide that this thing isn't game-changing, isn't life-changing, isn't absolutely amazing, I am going to allow you to cancel our agreement, decide not to move forward, and I'm going to leave you the plan that you can use over the next 12 months without me. So really hard. The premise there is that we talked about how hard it was and how hard we're going to work and how many hours it's going to take as part of our close. So, yeah. So I want to keep going with this. So secret, we're all simple shoots, right? In like our core, like establish 3 points, right? We talk. So where are you? Where do you want to get to? Why do you want to get there? Right? If I got you to answer those questions, where are you? Where do you want to be? And then why do you want to get there? And then I just help you with that. And then I put some emphasis on the X factor being that last question. Why do you want to accomplish it? I kind of highlight that it's going to be great. You're going to take the month off and you'll finally get to Disneyland and you'll finally get the profits and you'll finally be able to buy the BMW, buy the Ferrari, take the month off, go to the island, move to the Caribbean, do whatever it is that you were wanting. It's like, that's how I sell you, right? But so at your core, and that's you, Road Dog, and that's me, and that's everybody listening, that is your prospect. That's all we got to really do. Maybe this for like a change of pace, because I kind of always answer with like that, right? I just said, little red arrow, you are here, establish the destination, help them get there. And I just added a why that I think is got huge merit, because your motivation and my motivation are two different things, right? So you guys probably heard the Mel Fisher story, although you might not know his name, but he spent 17 years searching off the Florida Keys for $100 million treasure, right? Over those 17 years, he lost his son, he lost his his daughter-in-law, 2 wives, lost his fortune, lost more friends than you could probably count, and probably went a little bit nuts a few different times, right? But what he didn't lose is his will to keep going, right? He searched and searched, found the treasure he was looking for after 17 very, very, very long years, right? What's the moral of the story? Mel Fisher and anybody else who's accomplished something that we would describe as great, right? And that's Bezos, and that's Zuckerberg, and that's Jordan, and that's Schumacher, and that's Serena Williams, and that's whoever, right? Oprah. So 3 central beliefs. One, and again, remember, at our core, we are simple, right? What do you want to accomplish? Where are you at? Where do you want to get to, and why? So here are the 3 central beliefs that Mel had: that it was there, as in the gold treasure; that he could find it, as in the gold treasure; and that it would be worth it, as in the gold treasure, right? So if you're feeling stuck with your coaching business, and maybe looking for that elusive, let's call it breakthrough, or maybe, I guess in this instance, somebody, the secret sauce. And I understand why I understand why you would say it in that way, right? But it's not the secret. What we're really looking for is a breakthrough, right? Like, you're smoking for 15 years. If I'm going to get you to stop, that is a breakthrough. If you're 150 pounds overweight and you want to lose that 150 pounds, we're going to need a breakthrough, not a secret, right? Which will always be psychological. So here's the question, though. And I want you to listen. If you are a business coach, a business consultant, not happy with where you're at, and you've got like a roadmap that you want to get to, do you believe business owners are there? Do you? And I know you're going to answer that yes, but I want you to go deeper. I want to go past your conscious mind into your subconscious. Like, do you really believe that they are there? And then, do you believe that you can find them? You can convince them. You, most importantly, can help them, right? Do you? And again, conscious mind, oh yeah, of course, right? But I'm going to challenge you. If you haven't got the results, that might not be the case. And then number 3, and put a big fat star beside this, because it's just like, do you believe it'll be worth it? Because what do most people do? They quit, right? And so and by the way, Elon Musk, Michael Jordan, Mark Cuban, Barbara Corcoran, from Shark Tank, Schumacher, maybe Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, look, Jake Paul, right? No doubt is the same. Like, did they believe it was worth it? And the answer is absolutely. But do you believe that it's going to be worth it? Right. And that's what keeps you going. When you hit the speed bump, you hit the challenges, and you're going to have those. Like, many business owners won't commit for 17 days, let alone 17 years. Even, look, 17 minutes is a stretch in many cases. Like, again, TikTok is making sure that that's the case for many of our kids, and maybe you. Those TikTok videos, my heavens, forget that. Look, I enjoy listening to Kobe Bryant, right? Maybe something, from the grave, maybe adds a little bit of impact for me. But it's just incredible how obsessed he was with winning But what he's really obsessed, and what I hear, and maybe you can hear this too, or maybe you already do, but he was obsessed with being the best he could be, right? And then frankly, I think he also had a bit of an obsession with helping you, those that were listening to him, on being the best you could be, right? Like, again, what I said earlier, it's not about look at me. It's like, I see something in you, not have a look at this in me, right? So I don't know, inspirational stuff. Maybe with Kobe Bryant, like, you're enough. Like, listen to this, right? Like, you're enough, but you're nowhere near good enough, right? Is that like, you're enough? Like, it's okay, right? But there's nothing wrong with pushing, 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 right? And by the way, it's not you. It's not who you are. How do I word this? It's not who you are that's holding you back. It's who you think you're not, right? It's not who you are that's holding you back. It's who you think you're not. Think about that. And I think that there might be some huge value. Like, why are you not generating leads? It's not, who you are. It's who you think you're not. You're not a perfectionist. You're scared to be seen. Is how I've worded it in the past. And yeah, and I'm sure others have worded it similar, right? But like, yeah, you're not a perfectionist. You're scared to be seen, right? And consistency needs a mention here. But the bottom line, every day, pound, grind, smart and intelligent, smart, intelligent action, strategic, focused manner. Insane speed requires immense clarity, right? Problem is, very few people have that clarity, and it's a very, very difficult thing to ascertain, to define, to decide on, because it means saying no to so much. You can't practice soft and expect to play hard. It's not going to happen, right? Like, if I watched you day to day, here's my question: would I be inspired? If I was sitting beside you in your office, would I be inspired? The greats in anything, sport, business, even politics for that matter, they inspire those around, not about policies before you go, you know what I mean? Oh, it's if you've risen to the top in anything, you were in, you know what I mean? Like, the effort was there, and it could be in the gym, and it could be the office. It might be, it's the speech that you did. But if you did a great speech, I got to tell you, you practice in private and then did it in public, right? It's like, makes me think, shoots. I was talking to somebody just, again, I was fishing, and I got stranded on a remote island, had to charter in a plane to get us out, all to do with fires, whatever. Here's one of the things we were talking about, right? So, playing hockey, got a buddy who's just like unbelievable, right? Drinks way too much. But the coaches and the others, and the night before the game, right? And he goes, but gosh, he goes out, he drinks the night before the game, and I honestly think he plays better on the day with, on game day, when he goes out drinking, because again, we've had him locked in his room, and the next day he didn't play as well. What do we do? See, the problem isn't the guy who goes out drinking. The problem is that he doesn't go by himself, and he brings 5 teammates with him, right? Well, on game day, he's amazing, they suck, and you end up with a net negative. And not to mention a brutal culture, by the way, because you're letting the tail wag the dog, so to speak. But you know what I mean? No doubt you can see that one glaring. But you know what I mean? It's not him that's the problem. It's the 5 people to go with them. So I don't know. Look, secret sauce of coaching, the ones that don't succeed. This is what I say in my opening video. It's like, it's a 90-day experiment. It's day to day, week to week, month to month, quarter to quarter, deciding if they're going to continue. You've got to go all in. It's not an experiment. This is a career. And if it's not in your soul, then frankly, don't do it. Here's something I used to say in my emails all the time. Again, for some reason, I don't, for whatever reason, I haven't said it lately, but you don't have a client problem. You don't have a money problem. You have a refusal to help people before they pay you problem. That's your problem, right? And ultimately, it's just psychology. Think of the Rocky story, right? We all know that one. No doubt you've seen it. He was all in and ended up being an inspiration, and that it was the all in that was the X factor. And that's Sly Stallone in his own life with the Rocky, and then that's Rocky that he also portrayed that in the movie, not coincidentally, right? Nelson Mandela, inspiration. Martin Luther King, inspiration. It's Oprah. inspiration, beating all the odds with the talk show. Walmart. If you know the story, if you haven't read the book, Made in America, you should read it. It's about Walmart and Sam Walton. He defied every odd that there was, worked harder than anybody could have ever dreamt that he should have worked. And then there's Elon today, et cetera, et cetera. So the secret ingredient, maybe, I don't know, is it to go all in, Shoots, and believe, like to go all in and then believe at your core in your soul that it's going to be worth it. The freedom defined by options. How many options do you have? You want to buy a new car, you buy a new car. You want to buy a new house, you buy a new house. You want to move to a new suburb, you want to move to a better suburb, you want to move to a gated community, you want to buy, you want to move to the Caribbean, you want to move to Australia, you want to move to New Zealand. When you do well, the options, you want to send your kids to the best university. You want to get, and like talk about, you want to get the invite to the party, which, by the way, I think you should throw your own party and let the invite go by the wayside. But no doubt, like to do all that stuff, it's options. And that is true freedom. Go anywhere, live anywhere, be anywhere, learn every day, through working and guiding others and just improving a little bit by a little bit. It's a dream come true for those that crack the code, and that would be defined as freedom, and freedom being defined by the options that you have. So I don't know, Shoots, that secret ingredient. Secret is there is no secret, but going all in and believing that it's going to be worth it would be as close as I could get to a secret.
What was it you said there? It's not. It's what you aren't, or something like that. It's not what you aren't. It's what was that there? There was something you said there that kind of triggered me to kind of go, okay, hold on a second. It's not. It sounded to me like not taking proper inventory of what is actually holding you back. So rather than actually being honest with yourself of what's holding you back and then addressing that head on, taking that, whatever, learning a new skill, whatever it may be.
Yeah. What was it? It's not who you are that's your issue. It's who you think you're not, right? That's right. The premise. And that who you think you're not, I'm not, how many times I'm no good at sales, right? Well, how many books have you read on sales? How many audios have you read on sales? How many podcasts have you watched about sales? How many training courses have you paid for? Like, do you know what I mean? Like that's why you suck at sales,
exactly.
So, and how many times have you tried?
A lack of an honest assessment of yourself and your skills, perhaps.
Love it. High five. Love it.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up there. I know that you're kind of pressed for the next thing that we've got going on here. So thanks everybody for tuning into another episode of Business Coaching Secrets with the man, the myth, the legend himself, King Karl. And if you're not on the inside getting access to the pre-show, or you aren't getting Karl's daily emails and just want more information on how to build and grow and scale your coaching company, go visit focused.com and subscribe today. Again, if you enjoyed the podcast, please share with a fellow coach or someone that you think might make a great coach. And of course, we'd appreciate if you'd rate this episode as well, as we know that all the streaming services give an insane amount of weight towards reviews. So please leave a review if you liked what you heard. And that is it for another week. Remember, folks, progress equals happiness. We'll see you in the next episode.
Karl Bryan built Profit Acceleration Software 2.0 to train business coaches how to find any small business owner more than $100,000 in 45 minutes without them spending an extra dollar on marketing or advertising. This becomes a business coach's superpower. So as a business coach, you'll never again have to worry about working with business owners that can't afford your high-end coaching fees. Check us out at focused.com.